Let's talk about situational validation. Situational validation. I came across this one time, not too long ago, because I was going through a situation in my head, and I was like, I'm not looking for validation from the person. I could care less about, getting validation from the person or something like that. But why am I so still hooked onto this situation, in a sense? And I kept digging and digging and digging and digging and doing research and research, you know, and I came up on this, which is situational validation. And a lot of times we associate validation from just getting validation from the person. I'm not looking to get validated. We say that a lot. And this is true. We're not looking for validation from the person. A lot of times we could care less about validation from that person if we really deep down inside think about it. Then I had to ask, well, why am I still intrigued about a situation? Here comes situational validation, which is you are seeking validation from the situation that you were good enough, that what your thoughts were is what really is. Your thoughts were the truth. You're basically looking for validation for your beliefs or a certain outcome, more so than validation from that person. And when I really read up on it, it just blew my mind. I said, this is the information that I need to know to rest my mind now. Is that a lot of times we're not looking for validation from that person. The reason why we still keep our hands tied or muddy in certain situations, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, is because we're looking for situational validation, that we were good enough, that we could have made a situation work, that we are able to love. All these things. That's besides being validated by that person. These are all the things that we were looking for. And the best way I was able to beat all that is to know personally who I was and to give all those things to myself. Validate myself through all those variables I was looking at being validated through that situation. Giving myself that love, giving myself that care, giving myself that patience. Knowing I am good enough. Knowing I am full enough. Knowing I can love by giving myself that. Knowing I don't need a situation to validate me. Knowing that the universe knows who I am. And when the time is right, it'll give me the right situation to where I don't have to go outside myself to prove or to seek that validation. As a situation of validation is scary because a lot of times it's masked by our ego. I was speaking on that yesterday about chosen ones and the ego. But situational validation is scary, like I said, because it's masked by the ego. Off top, we can tell ourselves that we're not we don't really care about these people or that person or that situation itself. But there's little things that we want to prove to ourselves about those situations is why we stay in these situations so long. That's why we stay with these people so long. We want it to be validated that we could heal that person. Or that person could be a good person. We're looking for all these little things to validate our thoughts, validate our opinions, validate our beliefs, validate our feelings. All wrapped in our ego. That's why I said chosen ones, your ego can be very dangerous because it'll put you in situations where you don't need to be in. It'll keep you in situations longer than you were supposed to be there. You'll deepen soul ties that weren't supposed to be that deep. It causes more drama and more pain that should never been there. Because that ego looks for that validation. Like I said, granted, I've been there before. Looking for situational validation, that I was enough. That I could help heal this person. Or that this person could turn around. And at the end of the day, I might have gotten the validation, I might have not have. When I compare it to how deep in that soul tie got, or the trauma, or the drama, or the toxicity that had to go through to get to the other end, it wasn't worth it. Now when I sit back and I look at new situations where I could be seeking that validation wrapped up in my ego, I take a step back and say no. I say it's not worth it. I say I am enough, and I know I am enough. And I don't have to go through any situation to prove it. And that's the point I believe that we should be at. Is that we're not getting in situations to validate us. We're only getting in situations that's equally yoked with where we are. You know, sometimes people are not going to be directly equally yoked, but are they open to growing? To me, that's equally yoked. Are they open to growing? Are they wanting to do better? To me, that's enough. This isn't about equally yoked. I don't want to go down that path, but stay on topic. You got to give yourself that validation. You have to give yourself that validation. If you're looking for validation to see if you're enough to make a relationship work, then you have to understand the tools that's needed, and you give yourself that. And you show up for yourself every day. That's all you have to do, show up for yourself every day. Anyways, this is Rich. Let me know how y'all feel about this. Hope this could help somebody. Y'all be safe out there. Love and blessings.